Good morning, welcome to Catex TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. Today is Thursday, December 18th, 2014. If you wish to follow us on Twitter, go to Catex TV. There was big news yesterday at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. President Obama of the United States and Cuban President Raul Castro at 12 noon both went on television to announce the pending normalization of diplomatic relations between the two countries. This is after 50-plus years of non-recognition by each other. Apparently, there had been months of secret negotiations between the Americans and the Cubans, facilitated by Pope Francis, of all people. And the discussions finally reached the point where a prisoner exchange occurred, and following that move, an announcement was made indicating that diplomatic normalization would occur, and the Americans had plans to reopen their embassy in Havana. Now the United States Senate and the Congress actually has to go ahead and repeal the economic sanctions bill, which was codified into law back in, I think, 2002. So the Congress is going to have to act on that. There's sort of a split of opinion because there's a very right-wing anti-Castro mix of constituents in southern Florida who are taking this news very, very badly. It's going to promise huge opportunities for the insurance industry, however, because prior to the fall of the Batista regime in the late 1950s, Cuba offered many opportunities for American industry and the insurance industry, specifically in regards to sugarcane, rum-making facilities, as well as casinos. So it's going to be interesting to see how quickly the business interests respond to this. Meanwhile, the other big story yesterday was twofold, and that was regarding the hack of Sony Pictures for their movie, The Interview, which is a humorous movie apparently based on a plot that involves the assassination of the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Yesterday, two things occurred. It became clear as a result of sources in the United States government that North Korea was behind the attack, the cyber attack on Sony. The second thing that became clear is that Sony was going to back down, and it did back down. It canceled plans for a release of the film in New York and has decided to shelve the film's release indefinitely. They have decided that they are not going to take the risk of 9/11 type terror attacks on multiplex theaters where the film is being shown. This is the threat that came from the so-called Guardians of Peace, who were the perpetrators of the hack. This is the most expensive, the most costly cyber attack on an American company yet, according to most experts. In addition to the vanishing box office revenue from the movie, there's also a likelihood of a number of lawsuits as a result of the sensitive information that was released. The movie cost about $40 million to produce. That's now been burned. Sony has already spent another $110 million on publicity. That's now been burned, and it's going to be essentially written off, we understand. More reaction to the XL acquisition of Catlin Insurance. The Insurance Day is reporting that Stephen Catlin is not going to leave the company if the deal goes through, so that's good news. Immediate reaction from most British-based analysts was quite positive. Mike McGavick emerged. He's the CEO of XL. He confirmed the whole discussion. He said that the two companies are well positioned on their own, but we believe that they'll be far better positioned and stronger by working together. He said that the combined company would be a top 10 player, thereby increasing capital opportunities and overall relevance to clients and brokers. American equity analysts, however, only showed limited enthusiasm for the deal, especially as it regards to XL. Analysts flagged up the double-digit dilution that the proposed terms would inflict upon XL's shareholders. New York State will ban hydraulic fracturing for gas and oil. This is after a long-awaited report concluded that the oil and gas extraction method posed health risks. Governor Andrew Cuomo announced this yesterday. It's going to occur in January, and once that occurs, New York is going to join Vermont as the only other state in the United States that has banned fracking. The oil and gas industry immediately slammed Cuomo for the decision. saying that it is going to deprive the state of thousands of jobs and hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue. Cuomo, in a rare session where he actually answered questions from journalists, said the decision on whether to allow this kind of drilling was probably the most emotionally charged issue I have ever experienced, more than gay marriage, gun control, or the death penalty. President Vladimir Putin of Russia, about an hour ago, ended his annual marathon 5-hour press conference. Among other things, he said that the six world powers and Iran were, quote, very close to reaching an agreement on Tehran's nuclear program. He also vowed to fix Russia's economic woes within 2 years, voicing confidence that the plummeting ruble will recover, and he promised to diversify Russia's gas and oil-dependent economy. He was speaking with strong emotion and looking confident. He displayed a defiant stance toward the West, which he insisted was still trying to destroy Russia. He sought to soothe market fears that the government could use administrative controls, such as obliging exporters to sell their currency earnings, to help stabilize the ruble. He said the country's currency reserves are currently sufficient to keep the economy in stable condition, adding that the central bank should not aimlessly, quote, burn its $419 billion in reserves. Meanwhile, in India, the space agency there has successfully tested today its most powerful satellite launch vehicle yet. It can put heavier payloads into space, and hopefully India will win a bigger slice of the $300 billion global space industry. It's a big market for launching communication satellites. The country also checked the working of an unmanned crew module on the vehicle, which could give the agency the option of manned space flights. The unmanned crew vehicle parachuted down into the Bay of Bengal exactly as scheduled. The new launch vehicle is going to be able to put satellites weighing about 4 tons into orbit. Prime Minister Modi wants to develop India's 50-year-old space program and has increased the space research budget by about 50%, up to $1 billion this year. In September, India's Mars orbiter mission entered the Red Planet's orbit, making India the first Asian nation to reach Mars on its first attempt. That mission was lauded for its shoestring budget of, get this, $74 million. That's pretty impressive. I don't think NASA can do anything for $74 million. Everything always seems to be in the billions with them. But that's the news for today. If we have any breaking news, we'll come back and tell you. We did just notice that ACE has purchased the personalized business of Fireman's Fund. There are details still coming out on that. If there's anything terribly unusual about it, we'll come back and tell you. If not, we'll update you on that tomorrow. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.